That's pretty good.
Good old Benji. Hi. So Dennis, we skipped a week because you were infirm, apparently.
Under the weather.
Yeah. And, like, I was worried because 2 weeks ago when, like, I signed off, I was like, oof, here we are entering World War III. And yet, here we are again. So...
Yeah, it's a good place to start, I guess, since it's on our mind. It's interesting to me how our democracy is actually unable to hold this man in check and hold him accountable. At the end of the day, it's clear that in order for the democracy to work, all three branches of government need to be committed to it.
Well, it was always sort of a house of cards of democracy and republic and stuff that we all just sort of, in the same way that Peter Pan can fly when you clap or whatever, like it just all, we just believed, and it turns out
and I think it was Hamilton who when asked about the so-called protections against a rogue president that were written into the Constitution, when he was asked, given that it was George Washington and then Jefferson who were presidents, it was Washington at the time, actually, the Constitution was written. But he said, we may not always have a good guy. I don't know exactly what the quote was, but we may not always have a good guy. Well, as it turns out, the stuff that he put in there isn't strong enough, because Trump is doing anything he wants to do, and as long as he's got people obeying his orders in the executive branch, regardless of the fact that the Constitution requires Congress to be the sole authority for declaration of war, he's at war. He hasn't declared war. He calls it war.
But, like, at what point should the generals stand up and be like, I'm sorry, sir, I haven't seen the document from Congress?
Well, given that...
Because at some point that should happen, right?
The generals he's picked. So one of the things that he did after his first term, which was rife with defections and replacements and just on and on and on, in this term, he hadn't until recently replaced anybody, and now he's replaced two higher-ups. No head of Homeland Security's out, but also about her number 3 or her number 4, who was the dude who was the face of the murders, and so a couple. But the generals, there was a guy who resigned yesterday named Kent. I think his name is Kent.
Yep.
And he was high up in the National Security Council, and he quit, and he said, I just can't abide by this because there was no imminent threat. He's lying. This is all bullshit. And he became a ardent whistleblower. Well, his bosses are not having, they may be starting to have that problem now as they realize what they've done, because not only did Trump not have an imminent threat, and not only does he not have any clarity over what the war is really about,
or about
other
literally
than
anything.
He said, I just had a feeling.
Yeah.
And he has insisted that the only thing he needs to determine these types of things, whether the war goes on or the war quits or whatever, is his feelings. He doesn't mention intelligence agents or anything of that nature.
No.
Now,
He's never read a single intelligence briefing that he gets in the morning.
And so the as it turns out, the democracy is much more fragile. Now we have a Supreme Court that's shown a little bit of balls recently with the tariffs, but then Trump turns around. He uses another part of a law, and he puts across the board 15% tariffs on everybody. And so he continues to flaunt the congressional authority to tax. He doesn't have that authority, and yet he's doing it, and he denies it's a tax. And in the meantime, the war rages on, and now that the allies, largely, starting with most notably Canada, who said, you didn't consult us, this isn't our war, we're getting dragged in, we're not going to help protect ships get out of the strait.
Sure.
And other countries have said the same because they weren't consulted, and they're not clear, because he's not clear as to what the purpose of the war is. And this guy Ken, who quit, he said, look, every president up until this one has known that any war with a Middle Eastern power like Iran is going to deplete our resources, is going to pull in dozens of countries and groups that we cannot control. It will rage on forever and ever, and there's no predicting what will happen. Every other president has understood that. This one, and so we are. So here's my point: is that now Trump is pissed and says to his allies, I don't need you to help me protect the strait. I'll do it myself. So now he's got this hubris that he can do it himself, and so the war rages on. He could say the war is over tomorrow and nothing's going to change because Iran's going to continue bombing. Sure. Hezbollah is going to continue. It's completely out of control and out of his control. Gas prices, last week I paid $2.76 for a gallon of gas. Today I paid $4.99.
Not even $5.
Every American was already feeling like, fuck this administration, groceries are up, gas is up. And now Trump, who cares about that, was convinced like a puppet by Netanyahu that I'm going to go ahead and bomb Iran. You're either in or you're not, but now's the time to do it because with your weapons and my intelligence, we can kill all these guys. Yep. And Trump says, great, we'll get somebody good in there. Well, they didn't do that. They've got his son in there, who reportedly is going to be worse. He's a greater hardliner. So it's completely out of control. There's now 14 countries involved. He's pulling in other European countries into the protection of the strait, which means they are engaged now. The ones that do this, France, I think, is going to do it, for example. England hasn't decided. Spain, I think, is going to do some protections of bases. But it is, in fact, I don't know, like a world war, but what's the definition of a world war? How many countries need to be involved, or which countries need to be involved? And in the meantime, Russia is giving aid to Iran, giving them positions of our military. Trump knows it, and he ends up continuing to praise Putin and said, Putin's helping us. And there's no evidence whatsoever. Once again, back to the dossier that Putin has on Trump.
P-tape.
And so it's whirling out of control. They can't impeach him until after the midterms, and only impeach him if the Senate, it can't just flip. You have to have 60 votes. Are there enough Republicans to impeach him? If the Senate goes Democrat, there will be. and Trump could be impeached because they won't let him finish out. There's enough Republicans now who are crazy about Epstein. They just subpoenaed Pam Bondi, and the Department of Justice and the White House tried for a week to convince them it's not necessary. The committee is controlled by Republicans, the Republican majority committee, and they've subpoenaed her now under oath. And so they, and so it just.
So when she was yelling at them, that was not under oath?
No. When she was yelling at them, she was testifying.
Okay.
She wasn't under oath.
Okay.
In order to be under oath, she's got to be subpoenaed, and then she raises her hand, blah, 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 the truth, the whole truth.
Yeah.
If she gets caught with that, then she's liable for criminal charges, and she can be imprisoned in jail. More to the point, though, she would be fired, even by Trump, because he is getting rid of people. He's under such pressure that he's buckling in two areas, in at least getting rid of people in ICE, but he's not turned down the dial on what he's doing with ICE. He just got rid of a guy. It's like, well, somebody's
and
had
no one is talking about ICE since the
war.
No one's talking about the Epstein files since ICE.
Well, that's less true.
And then no one is
That's
talking about ICE since the war. And it's just like this MO of his of just like escalating. Oh, like there was a woman that testified that at age 13 she was molested by Trump. And that just went poof into the ether. Like
so
no one,
I'm not sure.
No one reported on that.
You're not watching much news then. If you were, you wouldn't be watching American news anyway. But
no, I mean.
So I'm watching news again because I'm concerned about my life, the kids' life.
But
these news reports have the top stories Iran, the second story is Epstein, the third story is ICE, almost every day. And on the point of the 13-year-old girl, they are subpoenaing witnesses and things of that nature. They're now investigating, continue to investigate, but ramping up Epstein's death. They've got people under oath coming in who were there in the prison that day, guards, etc. So there is movement, but the main thing, it isn't about the news, and it isn't about what everybody, it may be the public that if you say the public is focused mostly on Iran, that's true, but the news agencies are still pushing the envelope and everything else. I mean,
news agencies being CNN and MS Now.
CNN for a little while, it was sold to one of Trump's friends, so that's going to stop.
But
and Trump is the other.
When you say the news agencies, you have to be specific because.
MS Now.
Yes.
Which is what I watch, and yes. If I would guarantee, and I'll do it tonight just to prove the point. If I went to public television, I would see those three stories, probably in that order.
Okay.
Iran, Epstein, and then other stuff. But that doesn't mean shit. Most people don't watch the news, and if they watch the news, they don't believe it. So what worries them, and what are they talking about when they see their neighbors? They're talking about the war. They're talking about prices. And now they're talking about the war because that's the reason in what Trump did. That's my view.
How sad, I guess is the right word, that for regular citizens to engage with what is going on in politics, it's about price changes. Because
Well, it's the human condition.
I guess, yeah, it is.
Everybody
it is.
lives. Everybody gets up every morning. They got to go to work.
Yeah.
They got to eat. They got to get in a car or have some form of transportation. They got to pay their bills, and so they may be involved with politics. They may be one of the protesters. Protests are at an all-time high. There are millions of people protesting. Millions. It's not a majority of people by any stretch of the imagination. So even the people who are protesting are talking over breakfast. The wife, the mother, the woman who's buying the meat, for example. I said this the other day. I said, the only meat that we can really afford that's really affordable anymore is pork. I don't know why that is, but you can get 4 pork chops for $6.
Pigs
but you try to get a piece of red meat, it's extraordinary. Chicken's not terrible, but I'm talking about it now. When have I ever talked about the price of gas? I've never cared until I put in $20 today, and it's going to be gone tomorrow because I'm driving every day. I mean, and so now I'm like every American, and I follow politics. I don't know. I'm probably in the upper half. I'm not. What I'd call avid. I'm going to the protest on the 28th of March to protest the No Kings stuff again, which I've done once. My wife's done it about 4 or 5 times. She's heavier into the protests, and she follows the news feed, and I have not only my own news feeds, but I have her news feed. Within any given day, I'll get 10 or 12 pieces from her that I'll look at them so that I can say, yeah, I saw them. I mean, but I'm not. If they're long, I don't follow them to the end. Some of them, she says, this is important, this and that. So it's interesting. The country's energized in some very negative ways, and as it turns out, the way that this will end is when the public has it end through the vote as a result of the midterms, and at least they can impeachment actually is the House impeaches and the Senate convicts. So
right.
when we say he can't be impeached, well, he will be impeached. If the House is I think it's goofy for the House to impeach a president knowing that the Senate is going to exonerate him. I don't know what that.
No, that's always just been a show of theater. But so if the House impeaches and the Senate convicts, was that your verb?
Yeah.
That is enough to remove the president?
Yes. That removes the president and doesn't allow him to run for office again. But an exoneration or not an exoneration, they don't say he's innocent. They just don't have the votes to convict. That's happened to him twice.
Right. But
no consequence.
Who enforces that?
The military enforces that. Yeah, first of all, the Congress, the Senate, both chambers have police forces, as you know. And so they may have a role, but at the end of the day, it's going to be the military. But you've got an executive branch role in the removal. That's
because
a great
like when I went through school in civics class, it was like checks and balances. All 3 branches are totally equal, and they're all checking on each other. This is how this one checks on that one, and this one checks on that one. And turns out the one with the actual police force is the executive, and therefore they can do whatever the fuck they want. It feels like.
Well,
and I would love for this to people say constitutional crisis all the time, but God, I would love for this to be tested.
Well, politically it's still inconceivable that unless the midterms are going to be a total wipeout, which I'd say if this keeps up, but we're already past the point. Trump could end the war tomorrow. Prices aren't going down.
Right.
Iran continues to bomb. Russia now is the second biggest supplier of oil in the world. They've made billions and billions of dollars because of the war. They love it. They're now exporting oil at higher prices.
This was such an own goal. Like Bibi was just so friendly with him and was like, "Yo, bro, I think we should do this."
Hey, man. Hey, I know what. Hey, I know what.
What if?
Let's do a war together, man. I mean, we get along. With your power and my power and our intelligence. I mean, come on, man. Let's end this thing once and for all. Let's kill the evil empire. We'll just decimate them.
I heard an interesting take today that Netanyahu was doing sort of a Godfather, like, I've taken out all of our enemies move with the past several years, and also this, and such that when he leaves, when he departs, when he steps down and or is dead, he will leave Israel in a stronger position and take all of the negative shit that he's done, like, with him. All the blame goes with him and is sucked out, and so the new regime in Israel can just be like, well, that was a terrible way to do things, but also, like, now we have a lot more power in the region, which is, I hadn't considered that, but that's kind of wild.
Well, I'm not altogether clear who all has atomic weapons that might use them against Israel.
It's only Pakistan. If we're counting Muslim countries.
Which you would think would...
Which is what I just did, and I counted to one. Well, and I don't even know. I know that India does, and I feel like the India-Pakistan conflict is also nuclear, but I don't even, to be honest, I don't know if Pakistan.
Israel is so small, it's hard to believe all this happens. You could fit 5 Israels in the state of Illinois. Imagine that. That's how small it is.
I mean...
Have you been there?
I've been to Chicago.
Chicago. There's a lot of Jews in Chicago, or what?
No, I got invited to go to Tel Aviv, and like last year.
Yeah, and your wife said you can't.
And my wife was like, no.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I have a lot of Israeli friends. I don't have any Pakistani friends. I have some Iranian friends, but I don't have any Pakistani friends. But talking to my Israeli friends, and when I see my Israeli friends, it's like they're in Spain or they're in Europe somewhere, and they talk about how, yeah, I couldn't get a flight back, I had to, because all the flights were canceled on that particular day, so I had to like stay for an extra 4 days until there were allowed flights or whatever. And they talk about life in this world where every month there's a siren goes off and everyone in the family and the building goes down into the basement and they hide there in the bunker until another signal goes off, and then they go back to their normal life. And just living in that world of, oh yeah, there are rockets flying overhead, and but like that's what the British went through in World War II. Like they just went about their lives, and every once in a while you learn that, oh yeah, that house over there is not there anymore, and all the people are dead.
Well,
like
yeah, the bombing was pretty broad, pretty deep, from what I've learned, which isn't a great deal.
In where?
World War II in Great Britain.
Yeah. Yeah. In like just in London, they were just like, yeah, like we go about our lives knowing that at any moment some of us might be vaporized in our sleep at night and whatever. It's just like.
So what's Spain's? Does Spain have much of a military presence? That their navy, for example, would be. I've always thought Spain had a strong navy. That they've been asked to go to the Strait and refused, or is it in the news, or what?
It's my understanding that the Spanish Prime Minister said, Trump, you can go fuck yourself, and we're not going to help with this. In the same way that all the NATO powers were like, nah, bro. Like, you spent years and years and years saying NATO is shit, NATO is shit, NATO is shit, and now you're like, so NATO, come help us, and like it's just it's like how you would treat a toddler with a gun. Like Trump is a toddler, where you're just like, yeah, okay, Donnie, like, yeah, we're good, but like, no, Spain is not sending any military.
So we're spending $1 billion a day.
Right, exactly.
We're spending $1 billion a day, so in 14 days,
at least,
it's 14 billion. And one looks at the inability of the Congress to find the funds to pay for health care, to pay for child poverty, to pay for this, to pay for that.
Yep.
You've got communities in the United States that don't have water. They don't have sanitary conditions. They don't have sewage. There are children that are starving, that are going to bed hungry.
Yep.
And yet, the president, without any input from anyone, commits us to $1 billion a day. Check and balance my ass.
No, there is none. And like, one would hope that in the year 2100, like we look back at, oh boy, the 2020s were like, God, like he really stress tested our laws and shit, and like we responded by like really fortifying what that is. But speaking at the current moment in the current 2026, it feels like this could either go totally spin out of control, or we could learn from this. And holy crap,
I think both are possible. I think it's a timeline. I think it's going to get worse, and it's going to get worse. It isn't going to get any better anytime soon. And
But like,
we will learn from it. What'll happen is when the Democrats are back in power again, there'll be a slate of laws and protections that provide greater degree of accountability and authority. Now, I'm not altogether sure how you stop a general from obeying an order from the president. The idea that the Congress has got the authority and the generals are acting without that authority, and as you questioned, so at what point did they say, wait a minute, this is real war? Well, they haven't done it yet. It isn't going to be any more warlike. I mean, everything is getting the fuck bombed out of it, and it's on at least 2 fronts, 3 fronts. And whatever happened to Gaza? Whatever happened to that war? Whatever happened to Ukraine and Russia? That's one of the things that you don't see in the news even much.
And
is Ukraine?
Yeah, exactly. And Greenland and
Greenland's not even it's not even on the charts anymore.
Right, and now we're adding Cuba because he just fucking says shit. So I would like to believe that the generals are a career, obviously. To be a general, you must be a career military person, and you must. And from what I understand, the military people actually spend active time talking about what the Constitution means and what's
legal, right,
and what their role is in this world. And I have faith, it's unfounded belief that the generals will, if told, hey, I'm pissed off at Gavin Newsom, let's send a nuke to Sacramento. I feel like they will be like, whoa.
Well, you're using a hypothetical that, of course, would be the case. But here's more to the point. The generals, many of them, all of them, acted in the killing of, resulted in the killing of American citizens and killed thousands and thousands, including a stray bomb at a girls' school that killed 120 little girls. Mm-hmm. And that happened, and they're still doing it. So your faith in a hypothetical bomb in Sacramento, yeah, but in the real world situation, the generals are complying. And one would think, based on this, that they would comply if they bombed fucking Cuba. If they started bombing Cuban boats like they're bombing the Venezuelan boats. There was a general who made the decision that when the Venezuelans were clinging to their wrecked ship, that they still were a threat. Right. And so they threw another bomb at him and killed him. Now, this isn't Gavin Newsom in Sacramento, but this is people who are in shipwreck,
innocent as fuck.
The maritime, the naval rules, the law is clear. It's clear, and yet reportedly they had a constitutional discussion. And there was an opinion that it wasn't constitutional, and there was opinion that it was, and the general was the one who decided, and he did it.
Yeah.
And so,
But like,
I don't think you should. Number one, I don't think you can rely on the generals when it comes to real world stuff like this. As far as reining Trump in, the only thing that will rein him in my view, is getting rid of him. And
if that's even possible, yes.
Well, it's
like,
conceivable, given the three policy issues that are ruining his presidency. He now has lost the support of upwards of 75% of independents, which he had to have in order to win. The numbers are terrible everywhere around. The question is the Senate. Can the Senate have 60 senators who will convict when the majority, let's say the midterms are fantastic for the Republicans, they gain control of the Senate. How many seats they get to gain control? They have now 50.1%. They've got one extra vote. So that's not enough to convict unless they get the Republican support. Why would they do it? Give you this woman. What if proof positive comes out that Trump is guilty of sexual? We already know he's been found responsible for sexual deviancy. But what if he is?
If it's absolutely certain that he raped a 13-year-old?
Yes, if he was guilty of pedophile.
Let's just put that there. I think
then he would have. Then he could be impeached because there would be a majority of senators.
Maybe.
No, I don't think it's maybe. I don't think it's maybe.
The level of crime that he's already clearly guilty of, and lying that he's clearly guilty of, and that everyone is just ignoring. Unless he's raping a 13-year-old on camera in the Oval Office, I think there are people that will talk around it.
Well, I think there will be too, but remember, you only need 60. The Senate is what is the Senate? 100 seats.
Yep, two per state.
Two per state, 100 seats. So that means 40 of them are doing what you say. And the fact
which is disgusting.
Well, sure, it's disgusting, but it's the way of the world. But the signs, particularly around Epstein, it's interesting that Epstein would hang him before the war would hang him. It's not mentioned very frequently about 120 little girls killed. It's interesting to me how the news spent for every hour that they spent on the 7. Now there were another bunch of servicemen killed when their plane crashed refueling, which those are deaths as a result of the war, but because they weren't killed by enemy fire, they're not counting them as casualties. I don't know what the fuck they're calling them. Accidental deaths.
It's all super sad, and we should transition to talking
something
another
happier.
Topic.
So let's go to.
Well, I went out last weekend to see a stand-up comic for the first time in Spain.
To see who?
A stand-up comic.
Oh, yeah.
And so it was in a local city, but the venue was a high school. And I was like, what?
What?
I paid 15 euros each for tickets to see this person. Turns out some high schools have amazing little theater stage scenarios that are just perfect. So that was fine. And he was pretty good. He liked to taunt that he had black humor, dark humor, and one of his early jokes that sort of tested that, I would like to test on you. He said, "So I've got these friends, and they've got a son who's like 8 or 9 or something, and their son really loves to play board games. And so every time I go over to visit them, he's like, 'Hey, let's play a board game.' And I'm like, sure, let's play a board game. And this boy's favorite board game is Pictionary. And so every time we start playing Pictionary, like, he ends up on my team. It's like me and him and against the other people, against his parents. And I just have to say that this boy is really stupid. He's really bad at Pictionary. Like, he loves Pictionary, but he's really bad at it. And every single thing that I draw, like, he never gets a single one. And so I could be like accepting of this, but like, we need to encourage the youth to do better and like set goals and stuff. So I told him, look, if you ever get one of these right, I will give Max back to you. And he was like, okay.
Yeah, well, what's the reward?
I will give Max back to you. And then he, in the next sentence, he explains, Max is his seeing eye dog. So,
what was the audience reaction? Good? Or was it, oh?
No, the audience reaction was good. My wife especially was super laughing. And he followed that immediately up with, when you're talking to children, I feel it's kind of mean to tell them that Santa is really their parents. But even more mean than that, I think, would be to tell that to an orphan. And it was just like, fuck, that's some dark shit.
It is, yeah.
Anyway,
and was his delivery must have been like
his delivery was very good.
Yeah.
And but then, like, as a good stand-up does, like, it was like over an hour. Like, there were moments where what he said really resonated, and he noted that, and when they didn't, he also noted that. But like, because good stand-up is constantly like taking notes of what lands and what doesn't.
Right.
Because, like, for example, listening to Conan O'Brien's podcast where he talks about he tested all of his Oscar jokes in local clubs. Like, he actually went out to local clubs and just like appeared and was like, so here's my joke about this, and like, the good comics, before they do a stand-up special or whatever, they have tested everything.
Yeah. Did you see any of the Oscars where he was the
I watched
master of ceremonies?
I watched his opening monologue, that room was cold as fuck. Like
To his stuff.
No, his jokes were good, but the room was just not with him.
It's always the case. It's what the Oscars is famous. That's why nobody wants to do it. That's why everybody does it, but they don't want to do it because it's so hard. But he got, and people, they grade this afterwards. He got very high marks, and those high marks come at least partially from the amount of laughter that's there. But there was some stuff that he it was funny because he said something that was supposed to be funny and it wasn't very funny, and he looked at the audience. He said, "Some of these I just do for myself."
Yes.
and that
I remember that line.
Funny.
I don't remember the joke it was about. Yes.
Yeah, well, no, you wouldn't, because it's evidence of what he was saying was true, that it wasn't funny. But the other thing that he excels at, and the Academy's really good at, the award ceremony part of it anyway, is the shorts. I mean, did you see the DiCaprio movie that won Best Picture?
I did see that, yes. I think we talked about it.
So the reenactment of the scene where
well, I saw his intro where he was dressed as the crazy witch from whatever movie, and
Weapons,
and
which I've not seen.
I have seen that movie.
And
I've seen that movie and One Battle After Another, and also Sinners, and it was a good, like, however they recreated those sets, like, amazing.
Very, very, very good, including the same guy who was in the movie. And in order for this to work, he just went where they filmed it and used the actors.
I guess
they didn't have to. They didn't have to recreate it. They just went there, and it wasn't AI. Did you see the movie that he acted in?
I have not seen the.
I'd Kick You.
No, I have not.
I had legs.
I really want to. I have not.
So I think I fell asleep, and I meant to see the rest of it. But I saw it, and his acting in it was exceptional.
That's what everyone says.
He was not at all Conan O'Brien. He was an irritated psychologist, and he hit it out of the ballpark. He did joke about that a little bit because he was acting against Rose Byrne, who did you hear the joke? I think it was his monologue.
I've heard the joke. He said it's really hard working with someone that you've had a crush on for your whole life, and I have to say that she did an amazing job.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. Rose Byrne, she does comedies, and I've never seen her in anything other than a comedy. So she was quite exceptional. I'm drawing a blank on the freaking movie right now, but
If I had legs, I would kick you.
What's that?
If I had legs, I would kick you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not drawing a blank on the title. I'm drawing a blank on what the fuck it was about.
See, I haven't seen it yet, so I imagine there's an amputee involved, but like I don't know.
No.
Like,
no,
but like I don't. But like I don't want to know. Like I want to see it.
Well, since I don't remember anything about it except Conan O'Brien, you don't have any.
Okay, no spoilers.
You shouldn't have any concern it's going to happen momentarily because I can't remember shit. But
you're spoiler free.
While we're at the entertainment desk.
Yes.
We've moved. We do need to talk about
St. Louis.
Down to fuck St. Louis, which is continuing to be very bizarre. Now, spoiler alert, is there any doubt in your mind, as there's none in mine, that his wife killed him? that it's the second bike, the life insurance policy. I mean, it's interesting to me that we know that in episode 3. I assume there's 7 anyway. I don't know if there's 7.
Yeah. This
There could be fewer.
This stinks to me of Mayor of Easttown, where
Of what?
of Mayor of Easttown, where we
Oh.
where we didn't have the information to know who killed the person until the last minute, and
The last episode.
and I've also
And up until. Right.
and I've also been watching. I watched entirely this Prime Video show called Scarpetta.
Well, I've got it on my list because I have it on my on my tablet.
That is, it's Patricia Cornwell novel content, and it's okay. So I won't say much, but it
Nicole
was
Kidman and what's her ass? Scream movies. Fish Called Wanda.
yes,
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Curtis. Yes,
Who
they play. So it's a. This is not spoiling anything. There are 2 simultaneous timelines, 25 years apart, where you're watching the same characters in both timelines, and you have to sort of piece together, like, what the fuck is bothering them in the current timeline versus what was going on.
Jamie Lee Curtis isn't an aged Nicole Kidman, is she?
No. They play sisters. They play sisters. The actress playing young Jamie Lee Curtis is not well cast. The actress playing young Nicole Kidman is very well cast. Like,
So you saw the show, the movie set in Ireland, one of her early shows with Tom Cruise when they were both very young, and she was an Irish lass. Are you recollecting this?
yes.
Way long ago. The reason I'm asking you about this, which would be an interesting juxtaposition of photos, is a picture of her at that age when she was, to me, she was so much prettier than, and not because she was young, not that kind of.
This is a movie called Far and Away.
Yes. It was set in England or Australia. I can't, or maybe it was I think it was a war movie, or she was on a farm. But when you look at her face there compared to where it is
They
now,
play
where
Irish
she's
immigrants in America.
Irish immigrants in America. I thought there was a war part of it, or a ship. Who cares?
Probably,
Doesn't matter.
whatever.
Because my point is about the way.
Directed by Ron Howard.
Oh, no kidding.
No kidding.
Well, she's so ultra skinny. I don't think she's anywhere near attractive as she was when she was younger and wasn't. I mean, I don't know if she's skinny because she's dieting or she just became skinny. She wasn't so young in that movie that her body type changed. I mean, I don't know what happened. But
I think
you see her.
I think they were both pretty peak hot in Stanley Kubrick, Eyes Wide Shut. So Far and Away was in 1992. Eyes Wide Shut would have been 1999. But they were both pretty freaking gorgeous in that movie. as I recall.
By then, she was not the version of skinniness she is now, but she was close to it. And you're right, that she was drop dead in that movie, but in a different way. The thing I liked about her looks in Far and Away was she looked, oh God, did she look Irish for an Australian?
Well, sure.
But kind of the curly hair, the red curly hair,
Sure.
and the not like who's the there was another great Irish immigrant story, the Soran.
I feel like I've seen. It was either Far and Away or another movie where there's a particularly famous scene where Tom Cruise is naked with a bowl over his junk, and
a bowl,
like a ceramic bowl. No, that's a later movie, and Nicole, like part of her role is to like go and peek under there, and so it goes. Like, God, I saw this interview on freaking Oprah. So like, whatever. And they were at this point they were already married, and there was one take where instead of having his junk covered, like he didn't, and she looked under and it was like, ooh. That was fuck. What movie was that? I don't know. I'll maybe find a clip for that.
And it was somehow related to the immigrant story.
No, that was
just a different movie with the two of them in it.
Like they did.
They weren't in all that many movies together.
I feel like they did several.
Several, yeah, but not a dozen. I mean, not like.
Let's see. So, the Days of Thunder, 1990. That's where they met.
Shot in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Far and Away, 1992. Eyes Wide Shut. I think it might have been Far and Away. This is the one I'm talking about. So I stand correct.
But they were married
I stand
then.
correct.
They were married in 1992. He was married to Katie Holmes.
No, that's way later.
Later?
They married the same year Days of Thunder was released, where they met.
Really?
Katie Holmes was way after. After
Nicole Kidman? I thought it was the other way around.
After Nicole came Penelope Cruz, which was a beautiful. They had the same last name, but spelled differently.
They were married? Tom Cruise married Penelope Cruz?
No, I don't think they married.
No, they didn't get married. That was during his movie where his face was mutilated.
Hold on. Spouses. Mimi Rogers.
Cameron Diaz.
Nicole Kidman and Katie Holmes. But like, he totally dated Penelope Cruz. But she was like the Scientology. No thanks. I'm not doing any of this shit.
Penelope Cruz is married to somebody I was surprised about. Who is her husband?
Yes, he's one of these people that is not conventionally attractive, but is super sexy all the time. Javier Bardem.
Oh, that's right.
They're both Spanish, and Javier Bardem is like, boy, talk about a Conan reference.
Oh, funny.
So
funny.
Like he is like, he's not pretty, but he's sexy
Yeah.
in a way that like
You're talking about this "We Gotta Stop Conan" episode. With,
yeah, one of those. One of the he went to Madrid. Yeah,
it was hilarious.
yes, but like he, he's one of these people that, and we can all name people that we are attracted to that are not actually pretty, but are super sexy. But
you know, it's interesting you say that, because I was watching a clip of No Room for Old Men, or No
yes,
something
that
for
one.
Old Men.
Yes, No Country,
and how they could make him so unattractive because of his haircut.
yeah, he had a shit hair.
And how when he played against he was playing a drug lord, and the dude who was playing against him was the lawyer, who they never named his name in the entire movie. They always referred to him as counselor. What was that? Where and Penelope Cruz was in that. What was the name of that movie? That was really good. But and then my point, though, is I don't want to lose it, is that one of the reasons that they could play him as attractive in there was because of the way they did his hair.
Yep.
And the way that they dressed him. And and so kind of a nod to the people who are in charge of that kind of stuff. And it's not to the extent of like Nicole Kidman getting a fake nose for her turn as.
Okay, he played Pablo Escobar in a movie called Loving Pablo, co-starring Penelope Cruz.
Oh, well, that's a different one. Who was the other male actor in it? He was a supporting actor in the movie I'm talking about. He wasn't the main character. It was the same dude who was in the newest Alien movies, Prometheus, and gorgeous actor. He was in the movie we talked about, which was the CIA, the company, the agency, which we're still waiting for the second season of that. It's been years. What's his name?
Javier was also in the Oscar-nominated movie F1.
Who was?
In the F1 movie this past year, Javier.
Oh, I didn't
was,
see that movie.
You haven't? Well, you wouldn't, because it's in Apple. Little Mermaid. Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, let's talk about St. Louis, because in the HBO movies, the HBO shows that I watch, The Pit and such things, HBO pays for their own official podcast to talk about it afterwards, but also HBO is so big that there are other like TV critique podcasts that want to talk about it. I could find so little about DTF, and there's the unofficial podcast that is like people that are local to St. Louis, and all they talk about is how upset they are that like none of this is actually in St. Louis. Like it was all shot in Atlanta. There is no Jamba Juice in St. Louis. St. Louis has beautiful skylines that could have been like used, but like the show didn't do any of that.
Use them.
And she, Carol or whatever her name is an employee of Purina, which is a very St. Louis company, but there's no reference to really any of that except aside from her like emblem on her hoodie or whatever that she has.
Her vest, her velour vest.
Yes. But
so I was a little bit surprised by the nutty sexual stuff that
Those are some positions that I did not know were available.
yeah, one was, oh yeah, and the robot thing when he was in the box, and I mean it was.
Yeah. Do you know about the Amazon position or whatever he said?
Yeah, that's. I don't know how that would work. I mean, I don't know what was going on there. I'm not sure what she was doing. There wasn't penetration.
Well,
how could there be? I mean, I guess there could be, but his dick would be upside down. I mean, how does that work?
yeah, you need a lot of forward flexibility on the penis.
Backward flexibility. Backward.
Yeah,
Get his
backward,
knees above his head.
away from the face. Yes. So
you're used to looking down at it, which is throwing off your geography a little bit.
no, but it's what a hooray for being so bizarre, but also. Like I said, this feels very. We haven't met the killer yet.
How about Skarsgård? How about his acting turn on this? Peter Skarsgård, he plays the gay dude, the Bowie wannabe.
That's a Skarsgård?
That's Peter Skarsgård, who played freaking Bobby Kennedy, among other things. He did a great turn.
I didn't realize he was he was in the Skarsgård family. I mean, he's gorgeous, but it didn't occur to me that
not like his younger brother, who's huge.
Yeah.
Peter's not, and Peter's got a filmography that's just wonderful. He's so versatile, but
I recognized him immediately, but I didn't know where from. But also, yeah, like what an amazing role that is.
Yeah, and
play,
he applied. He had eyeliner on, which was the only. He looked like he had a little bit other makeup on, perhaps, but his mannerisms and his kind of very low-key, non-pressure type sexuality was fascinating, and of course the complexity of the sexuality of what's the main character's name who's dead?
Yes, that would be Clark. No, Clark Floyd.
No, not Forrest Clark. The dead dude.
Floyd.
He's got a strange name. Floyd. So I started to ask you this, but we changed subjects last session. Did you see the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio and our gal Kate Winslet called Revolutionary Road?
No. I've seen Titanic.
Boy, you got to see this movie. Anyway, this guy who plays Floyd plays the neighbor. I won't spoil the plot for you, but he's in that movie, and it's interesting to see the physical change in him so many years later. But that movie is a powerhouse, man. It's a powerhouse of acting. You should see it. It's...
From when, I wonder?
I got to sign off, brother.
He was Shep Campbell in Revolutionary Road in 2008. See, I never knew him until Stranger Things. And Stranger Things was where he blew up in the cultural zeitgeist of this guy. Who? David Harbour, the guy that plays Floyd.
Oh, I didn't see Stranger Things. I didn't know that he blew up.
No, like
I've never seen him in anything else besides Revolutionary Road.
No, he they coined the word dad bod to talk about him as being sexy, because he's super sexy but also not super skinny, and the
He's
internet
certainly
came
not
up with,
skinny as Floyd.
well, he's less.
So you believe we haven't met the killer yet, eh?
It's clear to me that Carol is totally controlling Clark. Clark is just a fucking puppet. But I think the killer... Good writing says that we've met the killer already. So... it could... God, they had such a nice bonding time with the son this episode. What a beautiful... So...
Unexpected too, I thought.
The editing that they did, where he walked into the distance and then did a gymnastics routine
on a horse,
and then walked back, wherever they did the cut, like amazing.
Yeah,
that's some fucking quality.
Well, he started out on the horses as himself, and the cut was after he was on the horses, and I saw the cut.
No,
I felt like I knew the moment.
I feel like he walked away, and then someone else did the horse.
No, he climbs on the horse himself. It's him. It's him.
Okay, I mean, also in the episode they're doing planks and shit, so, and that seems like not CGI, so maybe he's just super strong and with a belly.
Well, no, I'm not saying that he did much on the horse. I'm saying that it was him climbing on the horse and putting his hands where they needed to be, and the cut happened after it was established that it was him on the horse. I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it.
Okay, well, you be sure of that.
And the person who did it was not as heavy as him.
Probably.
Which
one would imagine.
Yes. But they didn't. I don't know that they did a great job padding him up so that he might have looked that way. It could have compromised his ability to do the stuff. He was covered in padding, I guess.
So you gonna be around next week?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, baby.
Let's not do this.
Yeah, I got
every 4 fucking weeks.
All right, man. Peace.
No song to sing me out or nothing?
No, I got nothing, man. I'm low key, baby. I'm low key.
Right.
I barely made it. I barely made it through the day today.
All right. Well.
More on that later. Out.
Peace, bro. Okay, that does it for episode number 274. You can find the show notes at happyhour.fm/274, where there's links to some of the content that we talked about. And you can help support the show at patreon.com/happyhour, where if you support at the Gin Martinis level, you can watch videos of these amazing calls. See you next week.